Matthew Perry is the funniest person in the whole world.
On the planet.
Thank you very much.
I think that's
And you know what? And I mean that, actually. I'm saying it as a joke, and I absolutely mean it.
Yeah, we all
Oh,
laugh at
very
Matthew's
good.
jokes, so that
6,000 AA meetings, therapy 30 years, 15 rehabs, half of your life in treatment or in sober living houses.
One look at the hit TV series Friends, and it's impossible to imagine anyone in the role of Chandler Bing.
I'm Chandler. I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable.
Someone at work ate my sandwich.
Well, what did the police say?
Sarcastic, charming.
Well, I loved Chandler. I loved the show, and I also knew, remember this, because it's going to be the best time of your life.
And now it seems impossible that all those years ago when we were laughing, we never knew that the young star was fighting for his life.
Saturday afternoon, Perry was found dead at his home in Pacific Palisades, California. Law enforcement sources say his assistant discovered the 54-year-old unresponsive in his jacuzzi. Friends who knew him well and worked alongside him, posting on social media, remembering the actor.
it's harder than I thought it would be.
It's going to be okay. I'm not going to miss you helping me out with money. The only thing that I'm going to miss is you.
If you're a fan of Friends, then I know this one hit you very, very hard. It was like a punch in the gut. Because there's some people we grow up with, we just don't imagine them dying, especially this young. 54 is really, really young, right? Matthew Perry embodied that character. And he always said that when he read the script for Chandler Bing, Matthew Perry said that he was like, oh, I don't have to be too different. I am Chandler Bing. A lot of Chandler Bing's personality and life was Matthew Perry. And sadly, we know in the show, though Chandler was hilarious, he had a very traumatic childhood and a very strained relationship with his parents. And unfortunately, art imitates reality, right? We're going to get into the real deep issues of Matthew Perry's life and also how he had this history of sabotaging real love, like people that really wanted to love him. He just never felt good enough and would destroy those relationships because of the insecurities of just growing up. But before we get into that, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Karinealourde, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars through history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so. And if you're already subscribed, please turn on your notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Let's start from the very beginning. Let's start with his childhood. So it's August 19th, 1969, and in the small town of Williamstown, Massachusetts, a star is born, Matthew Langford Perry. His mom, Suzanne Marie Morrison, was a big-shot Canadian journalist who once worked for none other than the Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Trudeau. His dad, John Bennett Perry, is an American actor and former model, and he used to do like Old Spice commercials.
Talk about glamorous parents. His handsome dad is John Bennett Perry, a singer and actor, and once the heartthrob of TV's manliest commercial.
My father being the Old Spice guy.
His Canadian mother is the captivating, hard-working press secretary to Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. But his very young parents had separated before he was a year old. They lived on opposite coasts and started new families. He remembers being that little boy giving away his mom to her new husband. He remembers when his dad marries a new wife. His step-parents are loving, he has wonderful new siblings. But for some reason, he said, as he grew up, he felt a kind of loneliness, never sure he was good enough to belong.
And when Perry was just a tiny tot of 1 year old, his parents ended up divorcing. So his mom then married Keith Morrison, a famous Canadian news guy. He went to Rockcliffe Park Public School and Ashbury College, a fancy boarding school in Ottawa. And even at age 10, Perry was a bit of a rebel. He stole money, smoked, started fights. He also started to let his grades slip. He later said that this was because he felt like he didn't fit in with his new family when his mom started having kids with Morrison. So he has a lot of siblings. And his mom, I believe, went on to have 4 children. And he just felt left out, you know, in a parent gets remarried, have kids, the child feel like you're starting this whole new life without me and feels all alone. By the time he was 14, Perry started drinking, and by 18, it was a daily routine.
He's 14 with his Canadian pals and a common teenage rite of passage.
I'd never drank before, and I just sort of drank this entire bottle, and I lay in the grass and just was in heaven. And I thought to myself, this must be the way that normal people feel all the time.
His friends could drink and stop. But for him, the relief was so easy it became his destination.
By the time I was 18, I was drinking every day. 55 like in a day, which is where I was.
55.
I guess the weirdest thing I did was on Sundays, I would go to open houses and go to the bathrooms, see what pills they had in there and steal them. And I think they thought, oh, there's no way that Chandler came in and stole from us.
But you're on methadone, Xanax, full quart of vodka a day?
But Perry wasn't just about trouble. He was also really good at tennis, spending up to 10 hours a day practicing, and became one of the top junior players in Canada. But at 15, he left Canada to live with his dad in Los Angeles, where the tennis competition was much fiercer than it was in Canada, so he just gave it up altogether.
It's really him, by the way. He was once a nationally ranked tennis player in Canada. And when the tennis-playing star of Friends showed up at the U.S. Open this year, the champion from Poland was starstruck.
The winner of the U.S. Open tweeted that the thing that made her the most nervous was that I was in the stands.
And also at 15, he started learning the ropes of acting at Buckley School, a prep school in Sherman Oaks. He graduated in 1987. During high school, he further honed his funny bone by taking improv comedy classes at LA Connection and Sherman Oaks. He went on to be a big shot, right? He starred as Chandler Bing on the NBC television sitcom Friends, and he also appeared on Ally McBeal and received Primetime Emmy Award nominations for his performance in The West Wing and The Ron Clark Story. He played a leading role in the NBC series Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, and Perry also became known for his leading film roles in Fools Rush In, Almost Heroes, 3 to Tango, The Whole 9 Yards, Serving Sarah, The Whole 10 Yards, and 17 Again. Perry co-developed and starred in a revival of the CBS sitcom The Odd Couple, portraying Oscar Madison from 2015 to 2017. He had recurring roles in illegal dramas The Good Wife and The Good Fight. Perry portrayed Ted Kennedy in The Kennedys after Camelot and appeared as himself in his final television role, Friends Reunion. He voiced Benny in the video game Fallout New Vegas. Now, let's talk more about Friends, okay? Friends was a big hit, and it made Matthew Perry super famous. And by 2002, he and his co-stars Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer were paid $1 million for each episode. The show even got him a nomination for an Emmy Award in 2002. All the laughs we get from Chandler Bing is thanks to Matthew Perry, who did an amazing job making Chandler so funny. He's probably the funniest character on Friends. Well, he is, and that's all because of how Perry acts.
Lisa Kudrow says Matthew Perry was always the one trying to keep everyone else happy.
Lisa is the funniest, maybe the funniest person I've ever worked.
You had one of your serial crushes, if I may say.
Yeah, I mean,
you really kind of chain crushed.
I did. Well, how can you not have a crush on Jenny?
And Jennifer Aniston? They had met years earlier. Perry asked her out on a date. She said no. Let's be friends.
And Courtney and Lisa. So it made it kind of difficult to go to work because I had to pretend that I didn't have these. Maddie is hilarious, David Schwimmer's hilarious, and of course, Courtney.
She was the first to say, let's not compete, let's be a real team. The team had its first breakout star, David Schwimmer. He will not leave his other friends behind.
David Schwimmer was the hot guy in the first year. I got the first movie, and he came into my dressing room when we were about to renegotiate, and he said, I think we should negotiate together. And I said, great, idiot.
Together, they negotiate a new contract. And they'll also have new terms for a flashback, a redo of that fountain scene. Ultimately, as we know, their salaries will set a record. By the last 2 seasons, $1 million per episode each. How does someone whose life is filled with so much luck and talent end up struggling so much?
One thing I really like about Chandler Bing is his backstory. Chandler had a tough time growing up, especially around Thanksgiving. His parents split up when he was just 9 years old. And after that, he started using humor and smoking as a way to deal with things, which is kind of like his real life, right? Only with alcohol. The creators of Friends use Chandler's old smoking habits for laugh, but they also talk a bit about addiction and how friends can help you quit. Chandler stopped smoking, but occasionally did slip up. Chandler's parents' divorce affected him in other ways too. He's not just funny. He's also scared of getting close to people. Even though he's known Monica since college, Chandler is scared that she might leave him for an ex-boyfriend. Luckily, they talk and are patient with each other, and Chandler and Monica end up getting married. That's why I think Chandler grows the most out of all the friends. He goes from being scared of commitment to falling in love and marrying one of his best friends. Yeah, he messed up a lot in the show, but he was always ready to fix it, and he loved his friends. He constantly took chances for the people he loves. Chandler helps Joey when he's broke.
Look, I will loan you the money. Just go to the hospital and let's just get that thing pushed back in.
He supports Ross and Rachel after their breakup, and
I know it's tough now, but things will get better. I'm not great at the advice. Can I interest you in a sarcastic comment?
He put up with all Monica's needs, right?
Actually, it's both of us. Apparently, my sperm have low motility, and you have an inhospitable environment. It means that my guys won't get off their barca loungers, and you have a uterus that is prepared to kill the ones that do. It means that we can keep trying. But there's a good chance this may never happen for us.
Chandler knows how to love each of his friends and give them what they need exactly when they need it. And this was them in real life. They were really close. And you know how he was with Monica on the show? He loved her in real life too and always wanted to be with her. But of course, she was already dating someone else and happy. And he never really got over it, you know? And they would keep in touch. They would have dinners after the show finished and stuff like that. And she would post them on her Instagram, like, guess who I'm having lunch with? Real friends in real life. But he loved Monica in real life, right?
The only thing that matters is that you make me happier than I ever thought I could be.
And all of the cast really does have, like, they're like a family. They really did love each other and were close-knit. They would fight. When Chandler won, I believe, for leading actual, like an Emmy, he went and removed himself from the nomination because he's like, hey, it's a lot of us in this show. Like, we got to win together, you know? So they fought for each other, for equal pay, etc. They just was really family. So when you watch the show, know that it's real. It's a real friendship. It's real love. It's not fake. And they really do love each other. And I saw when Friends made that joint statement, which I will read towards the end, they found out Matthew Perry died. All of the cast made a joint statement. People was all critical. I'm like, listen, it's the first day. Like me, I'm telling y'all right now, if any of my friends passed away, y'all not going to see me or hear from me for months. Okay. So yeah, I don't know why I want to personalize. Not you guys watching, of course. I know my subscribers are more compassionate than that. But the internet is weird. They be wanting people to make out statements right then and there. It's just weird. But let's get into some of the darker parts of his life. He had some famous girlfriends, okay? Remember Yasmin Bleeth from Baywatch? They were an item in 1995, and he even dated Julia Roberts for a year from 1995 to 1996. This one broke my heart because she was really into him. She was this major superstar who wrote to the show that she wanted to be a guest star in Friends, but she had one condition. She only wanted to be part of Chandler's storyline. Perry was pleasantly surprised and sent her 3 dozen roses, but in return, she sent him a bunch of bagels. They hit it off and started dating secretly. He even visited her family for the new year, and things were going great, but Perry had a habit of self-destructing and had commitment issues in real life. He felt that Julia was a bigger star, who was a bigger star, would one day break it off with him anyway when she found out that he wasn't good enough for her.
Interesting, because in my dreams, I'm surprisingly inadequate. The first time in my life, I'm in a real relationship, okay? I'm not going to screw that up by, telling the truth.
So he decided to break up with her out of the blue. He recalls how confused she was, but for him, he was just protecting himself from an eventual heartbreak. Who knows where they would have been if he just opened himself up to love and know that he was worthy, you know? He then ended up dating Lizzie Kaplan from 2006 to 2012. In November 2020, he popped a question to his girlfriend Molly Hurwitz, who's a literary manager, and sadly they broke up in 2021. Now, let's get to the serious stuff. Perry had a rough time with addiction. In his memoirs, he admits he started drinking at just 14. After a jet ski accident in 1997, he got hooked on Vicodin, a painkiller. He went to rehab that same year. At one point, he was taking like 55 pills a day and weighed only 128 pounds when he was 30. He ended up in the hospital with pancreatitis caused by alcohol. And while filming Friends, Perry tried not to drink on set, but he often showed up with massive hangovers. Sometimes he was even shaking and sweating. His fellow castmates tried to help him out, even staging an intervention, but it didn't work.
Behind the scenes, addiction to alcohol and later prescription painkillers would fling Perry into a decades-long hellscape, leading to extreme fluctuations in his weight and countless months in rehab. He said he went through detox roughly 65 times. Castmates coming to his aid during dark times, like Jennifer Aniston.
I should have been the toast of the town. I was in a dark room meeting with nothing but drug dealers and completely alone.
6,000 AA meetings, therapy 30 years, 15 rehab, maybe at least. Half of your life in treatment or in sober living houses. He has been in detox, he estimates, 65 times. Survived 14 surgeries after a nearly fatal emergency 4 years ago.
They ran me into the emergency trauma room, and it was in there that my colon exploded.
He was in a coma for 14 days. As he heals from all he's been through, there's still wear and tear on his voice and speech, and the scars on his body like a warrior back from battle. In 2004, I asked Jennifer Aniston about all her colleagues, including Matthew, whose struggle had become public.
What doesn't Matthew know?
That he's all right.
We didn't know. We, mm, we weren't equipped. We weren't to deal with it. Nobody had ever dealt with that. And, with the idea of even losing him or...
Yeah, it's like to watch Friends now.
We won't make each other cry.
Okay.
You're already crying. Do you want a minute? We don't have to talk about.
No, sorry, I just started thinking about...
I know. Yeah. Are you sure? We don't have to really.
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
It's a happy tears.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey. Give it this. Okay.
I just want to say that I love you. And I'm going to miss you.
Oh, you know what? Let's not say anything else. I love you.
And in 2001, Perry had to stop filming Friends and another project so he could go back to rehab. He was addicted to Vicodin, methadone, amphetamines, and alcohol. He admitted that he doesn't remember 3 years of working on Friends because of his substance use. And in 2018, Perry spent 5 months in hospital because of a hole in his stomach. He almost died after his colon burst because of his, abuse. He was in a coma for 2 weeks and had to use a colostomy bag for 9 months. Doctors told his family had a 2% chance of surviving. And 2 years later, while in rehab in Switzerland, Perry lied about being in pain to get a prescription for Oxycontin and was given ketamine infusions every day. He even had surgery where they gave him propofol, which stopped his heart for 5 minutes. He ended up with 18 broken ribs after they did CPR. And by 2022, Perry estimated he'd spent $9 million on his substance use, including 14 surgeries, 15 stays in rehab, and twice weekly therapy for 30 years. He's also been to around 6,000 Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. And unfortunately, on October 28, 2023, Perry was found unresponsive in his hot tub and was later pronounced dead at the age of 54. Los Angeles Police Department LAPD Captain Scout Williams said that the cause of death may not be known for some time, but at this point, foul play is suspected.
So when I was his assistant, he had other doctors that were delivering stuff to his house. And he always had doctors on his payroll. And he was up to 50, 60 Vicodin a day. There's no way that any doctor can prescribe a daily dose of 60 a day. So he had to have been getting it illegally, and the doctors were bringing it right to his house.
Got some breaking news to bring you from the US.
So let's get right to it.
The major development in the death of actor Matthew Perry. 5 suspects, including 2 doctors and a woman cops called the Ketamine Queen of Los Angeles, have been arrested.
That investigation has revealed a broad, underground criminal network responsible for distributing large quantities of ketamine to Mr. Perry and others.
Alleged killer Jasmine Sanger, known as the Ketamine Queen, is one of 5 people charged in the overdose death of Friends star Matthew Perry. Authorities allege that she supplied the drugs that led to Perry's death. The 41-year-old is accused of selling 50 vials of ketamine to him for about £8,550 and is described by prosecutors as a drug dealer who knew the ketamine she distributed could be deadly.
What I don't understand, there were no drugs found at the scene of his death. What, did his assistant just inject him and take all the drugs and leave? Like, what happened there? Like,
the day Matthew Perry died, his assistant shot him up with ketamine at 8:30 in the morning. Matthew Perry looked at him and said, "Shoot me up with a big one." And he did, as he prepared the hot tub for Matthew Perry, which is where he died.
While he did date many A-list celebrities throughout the years in Hollywood, including Julia Roberts, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Cameron Diaz, Katie felt that Matthew and Rachel Dunn shared a love that was unlike any others.
it seems like after he broke up with her, that's when I noticed the, addiction in full gear. We had relationships after her, but never did he show off his girlfriends like he did her.
While they only dated for 2 years and never shared any children together, Matthew included her as a beneficiary in his will, showcasing his lifelong love for her.
5 people have been charged in connection with Matthew's death. 3 have pleaded guilty, 2 others not guilty, and will face trial next year.
The Ketamine Queen has become perhaps the most infamous name linked to Perry's death, as more details have emerged about her jet-setting life. She allegedly supplied drugs to LA's elite.
Sangha showed off her luxury lifestyle on social media and often attended glamorous parties in Hollywood. Sangha is accused of selling 50 vials of ketamine for approximately $11,000 in cash over a 2-week period to Perry before his death.
On October 30th, Perry's friends, co-stars issued a joint statement saying, "We are all so utterly devastated by the loss of Matthew. We are more than just castmates. We are a family. There is so much to say, but right now we're going to take a moment to grieve and process this unfathomable loss. In time, we will say more as and when we are able. For now, our thoughts and our love are with Maddie's family, his friends, and everyone who loved him around the world." End quote. November 3rd, Perry's funeral was held at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Los Angeles. His 5 friends, co-stars, attended, as did his father and stepfather. And following Perry's death, the National Philanthropic Trust established the Matthew Perry Foundation to support people suffering from addictions. May he rest in peace, but this is just really, really tough. So a lot of people deal with substance or have addiction problems because of their childhood, a lot of traumas that they did not deal with. And what's sad is that, Matthew Perry really did try to get help a lot. He was in and out of rehab a lot. And he was actually doing counseling and stuff. And it just always caught up to him. The wounds were just so deep. And there's probably so much more that we don't even know, that he probably didn't feel comfortable to talk about, that he endured. But he just went through it, He always said he was very close to God and had a really close relationship and was trying to get connected. So I pray that his soul did find peace. Even if you feel like you really don't have no one around you, be there for yourself. Be there for yourself and know that you deserve to be here and you are here for a purpose. And life is worth living and enjoying the beauty. Someone with so much money and access to travel the world and eat the best foods and, all of this, and still just that little child in them would not heal. There's a lot of free therapy sources online that you can put on. You can text or call hotlines that are free now that you don't even have to pay. Please just seek the help before it's too late. This is all I have for this video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.